Okay.
All right. Did you start?
Huh?
Is it on?
It's on. Can you see it?
Let's see if it comes up. My internet connection is also a little patchy today. Let's see. Yes, I see you. All right. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Okay. All right. So let's start with what's on my mind. What's on my mind is the new year and the new year resolution. And let me set the stage for the question which I have in my mind.
Okay.
I have many conflicting ideas about resolutions. So let me just put different ideas. One idea is the people who like to live with the flow and see what comes up at every moment. And so for those in that mindset, I guess there is no place for a resolution and no place for a commitment and no place for discipline, no place for, at this time, I want to do this, right? And on the other hand, we know, we've been told, we have seen it, anything you want to achieve, you've got to have some discipline, you got to have some training, and I guess you got to kill that spirit of what's going on in that moment and keep it aside to follow your dream, follow your path, and do something in a determined way, right?
Mm.
So I think people who make resolutions and who follow it through take the second path. I want to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning because I'm going to the gym. So for that to happen, I have to sleep at 10 o'clock in the night. And at 10 o'clock in the night, if I have a spirit of, interest and joy coming for a movie, I stop that spirit and say, I'm going to bed because I have to get up in the morning and do my gym or do my meditation or do whatever, right?
Right.
So now, first of all, are these two approaches, what I see, these two approaches are conflicting with each other. Do you agree with this conflict? And if so, which way do you lean to?
I don't think they're conflicting. I think that we live on different levels of consciousness. And one of the consciousness is I am the doer, and I do everything according to, I put the effort, I have the resolution, and I push my agenda, and I will succeed. Right? And so all depends on you and pushing through.
Yes.
So sometimes you succeed and sometimes you go crazy and sometimes you have a nervous breakdown. It's no guarantee that you will succeed.
Yeah.
In my personal life, I decided I'm going to understand why I'm suffering. And it took almost 45 years until I couldn't do it. I reached the end of the road every time. And I had to say, I surrender, please, dear God. I sat in my living room, please, dear God, give me a teacher. I can't solve the problem. I'm in a box, and the directions how to open the box are on the outside of the box. So that's one thing, right? And also there is a level of consciousness where you actually live a committed life, and a committed life of service, in the sense whether it be your family, your art. Like for example, an opera singer is committed to their voice, right? And that entails immense amount of work for years. 8 hours of exercises every day, diction, right? Years and years and years. Same with the ballerina. like 10 years to dance one dance, right?
Mm.
So that it's a commitment to your passion. What's important, seems to me, one area.
Mm.
And that requires, so if I'm committed to my health, not necessarily to go to the gym, but I choose to be healthy, to be committed to my health, then that will help me get up and go to the swim or to the gym.
Mm.
Hmm?
Mm.
Because of that commitment to my health.
Mm.
I'm not committed to the gym. I'm committed to my and for right. So one of my commitments in life has been to contribute to my family system, to contribute, to do the best I can to make a contribution to my family system. That's a general commitment.
Mm.
Now, sometimes I'm planning, I'm going to go to the doctor, I'm going to go to the gym, and then maybe my grandson needs attention, and so I drop it, I go with the flow. Well, something happened, so I could leave that, whatever I was committed to doing before, and do the other thing. So there is flexibility in commitment, because the spirit, the consciousness is not rigid, it's very creative. So how do we live a life that's committed and in the flow at the same time?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the question. How to live a life which is committed, but at the same time in the flow.
That allows for the flow, and it's not an indiscriminate lazy flow. Oh, I'm sitting in bed waiting for somebody to knock at the door. It is that that spirit is not rigid, and spirit will give me chances to practice my commitment, will bring me to that I want,
Mm.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
In that service. So a lot of opportunities happen when I follow that flow. At least for me, I follow my flow as much as I can, because you never know what's going to surprise may happen around the corner that I didn't plan.
Yeah. Mm. 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 So in a way you are saying that my commitment should not be for specific task, but it should be for a goal, an overall goal, right? If I have a commitment for a task that I got to do 5 a.m. gym, 5 a.m. gym, 5 a.m. gym, I go crazy following that task. If I have a commitment for a larger goal of health, that's beautiful, and then I can be flexible at the same time committed to my goal.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So I have some larger commitments that I say every day. Like, for example, I choose to be the predominant creative force in my life. That's one. I choose to be healthy.
Mm.
I choose to be happy.
Mm.
And I choose to manifest my greatness in this lifetime. These are my 4 commitments of every day. So they're large. Hmm?
Can you repeat them? That's beautiful. Your commitment. What are
Okay,
these?
so the first one is, and I give credit to one of my teachers 40 years ago, Robert Fritz, who helped me with these commitments. I choose to be the predominantly creative force in my life.
Okay. You are the force yourself for your life.
I take is equal to I take responsibility for my life. Hmm? So I choose to be free.
Yeah. Okay.
I choose to be healthy.
Mm.
I choose to be happy. And I choose to manifest my greatness in this lifetime.
Okay, but at the same time, you're saying the first point that you made in the call, that you choose to be, but it may or may not happen because you're saying we are not the doer, so we may be able to do it, we may not be able to do it.
I have no idea. But it keeps me, these great commitments keep me focused on getting up and go to the gym.
Hmm.
Mm? And if I have a choice between write something that I would know that's my lower self or my higher self, I will go to, I have an opportunity to go to my higher self. Mm? To choose for something higher or lower. Like, does that make sense? There's always those choices
Yeah.
in life. Like, I'd rather stay home and don't bother, but then on the other hand, my commitment is to contribute to my family, and here I have an opportunity to do that. Well, I'll do that even though I don't want to. Mm? Because that commitment gives me, in a way, it's also selfish with a big S, but doing that gives me a sense of joy and peace. So the higher goal helps me accomplish the little ones and helps me navigate my lazy nature, or my nature of I don't want to do too much work, or I'd rather not do anything. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah. That's where sometimes I get, I feel like, okay, I should do what I feel like, and I feel like staying at home. Let me just stay at home, not do anything. Okay.
And
So
that could be a wonderful thing. Sometimes, sometimes maybe your body needs that kind of stuff. So this is where the wisdom comes in. It's not like staying home and doing nothing is bad. Hmm? If I had a week or a month in which I was going this way, that way, maybe staying 2 days closing the doors is a great service for my health. Hmm? Does that make sense? And for my body and for my general. So we shouldn't judge the outside events as good and bad or indifferent. But if your life is oriented to your higher goals, those goals will, in my opinion, will inform the little details of your life.
something else coming to my mind right now is that will only happen if I have a very deep commitment to the goal, not a superficial one. I can choose a dreamy goal. I want to do this, but then in that case, my little things in my life won't be driven by that goal because my heart isn't fully with that goal.
Exactly. And that's probably the biggest obstacle, seems to me. How deep is your commitment? There is a wonderful movie that I think we saw together long time ago. What? Now I can't think of a name. When I think of a name, and it's anyway. If I think of a name, I'll let you know. But it's very important because it's like the journey of the hero, you know, Like in mythology, what does the hero do? They have to go through a lot of trials and tribulations. They want, the prince wants the princess, and so they tell him, well, you have to slay the dragon, then you have to go to a mountain and swim with the sharks and go through a test of fire. Yeah, and it's in every culture there is this. What is that? To test your commitment to your goal.
Yeah.
And if you can do that, and I think that happens in our life also. There are times that one wants to quit because you say, what is this? You don't see anything but one trial, more trials, right? And how deep is your commitment? And maybe the question is, what happens if you abandon your deep commitment? And what kind of a life is that? At least for me, I said, I better keep on going because the life I had is a horrible. I didn't want to go there anymore. So the only way forward was going forward.
Yeah. That's where it is still not very clear to me. Or maybe you're saying that's where the wisdom comes in, and wisdom decides, you take a decision from there. Because there is a commitment, you are pushing forward towards it with all your enthusiasm. And then at the same time, you have to listen to your body, and if it is happening too much for you, you reject that commitment and take care of your body.
Well, you know what? The commitment doesn't follow your logic. The road is not something you could, a lot of the times that road means one step forward and two step backwards and a giant step forward. So there's many times that you beat the dust and you fall and you get up again. That's part of the road. Sometimes the dragon hits the prince and he ends up all wounded. There is also a lot of mysticism or mythological about the wounded healer. If your ego doesn't get wounded enough, your soul doesn't show up. We are so covered. Sometimes we need to run away from some places. Maybe you have to run away 3 or 4 times. I don't know. It's not the particular step that's important, it's where you're going.
Okay. Okay, I see. I see what you're saying. That helps. That helps. So when I'm taking my step backwards, I don't need to judge myself. I just need to make sure that, I do have that commitment to my goal. And at this time, I'm taking a step backwards because maybe that'll help.
And it is, I think there was a quote from Goethe that says, whatever you dream of, begin it. It's almost like it take the step. There is a power that will help you immediately. So this I have, in my own experience, I have found to be true. So it's taking action is very important, not just dreaming about it. So saying, okay, I'm going to get up and go to the gym to take care of my health. And then what happens is you end up loving the gym and loving the exercise. So, and there is a higher force that's waiting for you to take that step. And then it takes you by the hand. And sometimes that doesn't mean it's all happiness. It means you will fall down, but you'll move forward. And you know you're moving forward. Hmm?
Yes. Yes. Okay. I think it was very helpful what you're saying. It's very helpful.
Thank you,
Very,
my
very
dear.
helpful. Okay, I think that's very good. Good for today. Small call, but very useful. I think got to listen again and again.
So again, it's two things. You make the effort, but there is also a sense of flow sometimes. That things go, that opportunities come, that surprises enter your life
Yeah,
because you follow the flow. That you're not rigid to say I have to do it this way and that's the only way,
right.
right?
Yeah,
And so you have the wisdom to know, you know, more or less when you're following your commitment to your life, and then when do you need to rest, when do you need to work, right? And I think there is something called consciousness. At least I know if I stay in bed, there is a part of me, instead of going to the gym, that says either, yeah, today's okay, or hey, right? You messing with your commitment.
yeah. That's very. Nowadays, I'm facing a challenge. I got this. Maybe I can call it addiction or not addiction. At least, I'm loving this game of chess,
Uh-huh.
and I play. Whenever I get free time, I start playing. And sometimes I come to gym. I'm sitting in the parking lot and I start playing chess. And one game, two game, three games, it just keeps going before it's too late. And other things in life are waiting for me. At that time, I think when I reach the parking lot, he said, "No, you cannot open the chess app. You just go to gym right now, right?" Kill my interest. Then I would think, am I killing my interest in that? In doing something which I've already pre-decided to do, or what's happening? How am I managing?
Well, you have the forces of the unconscious. You have the forces of the repression that says, "I want to have a good time," right?
Yeah.
And so this is our journey with duality. You have that, and the interesting part of that is probably to observe, not necessarily to win, but to observe what is happening. Right? What do I need? What does the chess gives me? And maybe I sit there for 3 times more and play chess in front of the gym until you start laughing. That's very funny.
Yeah, but I don't know. I haven't moved further on that path. I mean, I knew you would say this. You say this for any habit. Don't kill it. See what it gives you.
And then
I
make
don't
it
know what it gives me.
all right. So then, see when can you like make a decision of the will. I will step out and go. Which one are you going to do? Many times I have to, it's an act of will that's required. And the first is the worst.
What's the worst?
The first step is always the most difficult. Like the step that you're going to say, okay, I want to do this instead of the gym, but you say no, and you put your leg outside the car. Then the second time you will be less, and there will be one time that's no longer a problem. You create a new habit.
And the question I'm handling is what gives me more growth? Which path? Or are you saying neither of them? Where?
If your commitment is to take care of your health, right? At least for me, and I then don't ever go to the gym, then I'm not following, then that's detrimental to me. Hmm? So I have to ask myself where I am, I'm going to get sick if I don't, or, my commitment to be healthy, I'm not supporting it with action.
Yeah.
What am I supporting? What am I? And then a lot of questions can come up. Am I supporting my health? Am I supporting my illness? Who am I loyal to that I'm not fully into taking care of my health? Mm?
Yeah.
So until you find, and then it leads you into an inquiry of what is going on with me, and then it leads you to connect with people that know more than you, and say, what is this, until you find out. And once you find out, it's easier.
Okay. Well, life would mean all the time this set of conflicting goals, right? All the time.
All the time, we live in duality, and I think it's not all the time, it's at some time in your life, because as you grow in age and consciousness together, the joy of being in the flow of your own goals is so good that you don't have so many conflicts. I think it depends on what stage in your life you're at.
Yeah, see, right now I got too many conflicts, which I think is because I got too many interests. I want to do this, and there isn't enough time, so I keep getting conflict.
Yeah, that's true. When you have too many interests and too many abilities, you have to choose. And when you choose something, you neglect other things.
Yeah.
And you have to make peace with that eventually. If I do this, I'm not going to do that, and you lose something. Every time you choose, you lose something. And so you have to accept that on top of it and say, okay, what's the one I like most, or what gives me the most joy and pleasure, or what is the one that my soul is asking me to do. My greatest commitment in my life, I didn't want to do. It was only with the help of Susie Tucker that pointed out to me that I was running away from my own commitment, that put me back and say, okay, I choose this. And I'm so happy I did that now. In retrospect,
Right.
I'm saying, oh my God, I would never have this kind of joy if I didn't put my my warrior suit and stay and face the devil.
Hmm.
So the conflicts are there. So the choosing, once you choose and you follow, in a way we are, when we do that, we prepare for life at the end of life.
How is that?
How is that? Because how do you wanna transition to the other world in a state of, kind of wake up and say, what have I done with my life? Nothing. Frustrated, or having beaten your lower nature, having had follow your higher goals, right? And having that sense of peace that you have fought a good battle. And that all these angels helped you.
You see that, then when I look at it, at my habit of chess playing, I think that comes out of lower nature. I can do way more higher things in that time.
I didn't get what you said.
I said, if you say that, then I would look at my habit of playing chess as a lower nature.
Well, that's your judgment. For the chess player, it may be the goal of life.
I'm trying to decide for myself.
Oh, I don't know.
What do I do with my life?
Okay.
Even if I become a chess player, I feel like, what's that? What's that goal of life in which I didn't make this world a better place? I just
Well, that's an idea. Maybe that's a judgment from your mind. It's not a decision from a silent way from another place. That's what I see that you're doing. You're judging chess as lower than something else.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily true. Maybe it serves you as a discharge, a distraction from your mind. I'll give you another interpretation. Right? Maybe you have so much stress that you need that and it clears your mind. Right? Who knows? Maybe your son will become a great chess player because you're playing. You don't know what that serves. We actually don't know anything. That's basically.
If you don't know, if you come to that point that I don't know.
Well, it is something that gives you something for your nature to feel what, I'm not sure. But it certainly provides something that nourishes you as a person, right? It fulfills a need for you. And so I will take it seriously, but also the gym fulfills a need for you. And so maybe your mind then can be used as, hey, maybe I can go to the gym and then another hour I play chess. I don't know. How do I make these two things? How do I not sacrifice one for the other?
So those are all came from conscious mind, right? Everything I got to decide from my conscious mind. I got to give time to my family, I got to give time to my job, I give time for my health, time for my interests.
Well, that's what your mind is for, to make to understand that you have all these commitments, right? And you have this interest. Just like the mind works for organizing, it's not organized. So for some reason, that's the purpose of the mind. When do I go to the gym? When do I come back? Right? But in service of your commitment. Not, does that make sense? Not the opposite way around. Not having the mind organize your commitments, but your commitments come from your soul or from your unconscious. And the mind can tell you, well, I have to call the gym. Like my swimming time is from 6 to 10, Monday through Friday. So I know that if I want to honor my commitment, I have to get up and put the alarm clock or do something so I can get there.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
So you have in the curse of the people with many talents.
I don't know that, but yeah.
They call it in America the Renaissance man. I'm a little bit like that. I like a lot of things, so I'm never good at any particular stuff. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's okay with me.
Especially after coming to US, that's beyond this point of commitment. I feel that in this land, there is, and after internet came in, there is every training available. So whatever you in your dream to do, you just put a little bit effort in it, and you start, within 6 months, a year or so, you start feeling, yep, I moved on way farther than where I was. It gives me such a kick to, explore so many things.
There you go. And you will only know, I'm making a statement which may not be, is too general, but for me, I came to understand the things I studied 20 years ago as having relevance now. I didn't know it then, but as life goes on, you look back and say, oh, I see, right? I studied mediation 40 years ago, and now I'm using it right and left in many occasions. And when I was doing that, I didn't know. I did it just in case I wanted to work when I retired. And I retired, I'm working in something else, but I'm using mediation all the time. So you never know. But I see how, so it's interesting. So I wouldn't dismiss the chess. You never know. What chess is giving you at the moment is needed for you. The important thing is you don't feel guilty, because that's the killer.
When you see that your actions are not in alignment with your commitment, then don't you feel guilty? You want to take corrective action, right?
No, not anymore. I used to. but I say this is not according to my commitment. What is it that I need right now? And okay, let's do something about it and renew my commitment. Does guilt help you in any way?
I don't know, I heard these words being played around. I never understood. Don't have guilt, have remorse, or whatever. Some the force which will get you back on path to your commitment.
Well, that's one force, but there is another force, the force of love and aspiration to fulfill your commitment. Which one do you prefer? Hmm? The punishing one?
Yeah.
Or this thing to give yourself a hug and say, well, I see you, my dear. Like if you were a child, if you have your children, does it work to say you should feel guilty about not doing your homework at this point? Or you should encourage them to fulfill their dream instead. So it may get you right back, but it gives you another problem, guilt. And whenever you are guilty, you're going to get punished by yourself or somebody else. So it sets you up for defeat at the end. At least that's my opinion. So I'd rather look at myself with no guilt and ask myself, every day, I choose to be the predominant creative force in my life. What do I want to create? Again, and if these are going to support that choice or not. So let that be the force to support my stuff, not the guilt. I'm done with guilt.
Okay. All right.
Guilt is a very selfish emotion. It's all about you. It's not about the goal. It's not about service. It's not about achieving a higher, it's about, okay, if I do it, then I won't feel guilty. So it's all selfish to begin with. So it reinforces that selfishness. It's one of the most damaging emotions.
Is there a difference between guilt and shame?
There's big difference.
What's the difference?
Shame is interruption of joy and interest. Guilt is I did something wrong, let me punish myself.
So one of
Shame is I am bad.
Yeah. So one of the shame's defense mechanism is guilt. Out of the four, one of them is beat myself.
Guilt, it's different. Shame is an affect. Guilt is a secondary emotion, I think. And in shame, we feel we are intrinsically a bad person. In guilt, basically, is, oh, gee, I did something terrible. I'm playing chess instead of going to the gym. Let me punish myself for it.
Okay.
Okay, my dear.
Lots of ideas. Yep. Keep processing. Keep talking. Okay.
So, Thank you so much for this
Thank
great
you.
conversation,
Yeah.
and we are going to take a break, right? Until
Next 2 weeks break, and then we'll meet.
again on the third week of January, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay.
bye-bye.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time. Thanks for all the wisdom.
Haribolo.